What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about the Knicks' Game 5 loss to the Boston Celtics, what Wingstop did wrong, what the bench did right, and overall, what Tom Thibodeau has to change for the Knicks to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals in Game 6. I'll get into all of it on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
DiVincenzo at three. Bang! Bang!
At the wall, he jumps. It's gone. He did it. He did it. Pete Alonso with the most memorable home run of his career.
All right, getting into the episode, and let's start with OG Anunoby because he flat out sucked in Game 5. And I've been noticing a trend recently. As OG Anunoby go, the Knicks go. He is such a pivotal, indispensable part of the team that when he's a minus 13, when he's a minus 25, the Knicks are losing by 20 plus points. This Game 5 might have been his worst game as a Knick. I mean, he gave you very little on the defensive side of the ball, and he gave you absolutely nothing on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, this is a guy who has shown us that he can score 29, 30 points in a game. He scored 6 points in this one. And it's not like he was playing some all-NBA, all-defensive team, defensive player of the year worthy defense on Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown had a magnificent game, and I'll give Jaylen his flowers, but that's a lot on OG Anunoby. OG is so good at defending Tatum. It's almost like he's figured out Jason Tatum and he kind of exploits him every time they face off. But Jaylen Brown threw him for a loop in Game 5. So maybe if you're Tom Thibodeau, you have to consider using Mikal Bridges on Jaylen Brown because he's used to guarding Brown, because he knows Brown's move, he knows Brown's game, and it might just be a better matchup. I mean, that's how the Knicks won the 3 games that they won. Jason Tatum was guarded by OG and Jaylen Brown was guarded by Mikal. But also, Mikal Bridges has to be better. This is a guy that has been incredibly pivotal to the Knicks' success as well. In Game 4, that fourth quarter that he had, those mid-range jumpers where he's running across the lane, pulls up, fades away, it's cash. He's been so good in the fourth quarter this playoff run. He's been one of the better Knicks in this playoff run after a very disappointing regular season. I mean, outside of Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges has been the go-to guy in the fourth quarter. So for the Knicks, they need Wingstop to be playing at the top of their game. And I think this has something to do with the Knicks taking the Celtics too lightly without Jason Tatum on the court. The Knicks thought they were just going to walk into Boston, walk into that fake TD Garden, and the Celtics were going to fold. They were just going to let the Knicks do whatever they wanted. That's not going to be the case. That's never going to be the case in the playoffs. The Celtics showed up. The Celtics showed out. The Celtics had energy. They had vibes. They had passion that the Knicks just didn't have. Like, there's one play that sticks out of my mind. Jaylen Brown knocked the ball loose. I forget who he was defending. He laid out. He went full Superman, dove and tapped the ball back in bounds. Peyton Pritchard went down the court and scored. That's the kind of hustle that the Knicks just didn't have. That's the toughness that they haven't had all season long. And if the Knicks are going to make this NBA Finals run, if they are going to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, and now I'm starting to doubt that they're going to get out of the second round. Despite going up 3-1, despite Jason Tatum being out for the remainder of this series, despite the Knicks having Jalen Brunson, the best closer in the sport, there's some doubt that's creeping into my mind. That says, well, what if Derek White and Luke Kornet come out and just dominate again? What if the Celtics have 2 more of those games where they're just not missing from 3-point range? What if the Celtics come out with more energy, with more passion, with more fight, with more grit than the Knicks for the next 2 games? Really, for the next game, Because while yes, the Knicks do have 2 more bites at the apple, I do not feel confident whatsoever in the Knicks going back up to Boston in a 3-3 series gridlock and beating the Celtics. It's just not something I feel confident in. If this goes back to Game 7, I think the Celtics are winning, and it might not even be close. But you know what it starts with? And it's more than Jalen Brunson. It's more than Karl-Anthony Towns. It's Wingstop. It's the guy the Knicks gave up 5 first-round picks for, Mikal Bridges. And yes, I do think Mikal has proven himself in this playoff run. I do think the trade was worth it. Those picks are probably going to end up being in the late 20s anyway, so it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's just the idea of giving up 5 first-round picks. A guy in OG Anunoby that has been so good, so pivotal, so indispensable for the Knicks this season. He is one of the only athletes on this team. Like, you think about it, Jalen's not really an athlete. Cat's not really an athlete. Mikal is sort of an athlete. It depends on the day. He has athletic plays. Josh is in that same realm. He's more towards the athlete side. But OG Anunoby's an athlete. He's a freak of nature. He's a guy that's sprinting down the court. He's jumping with the best of them. He can move laterally. He can move up and down the court. OG Anunoby is a true athlete. There is not many of them on the Knicks. Miles McBride is. Cam Payne is. But the next guy I want to talk about, Mitchell Robinson, is not. And that's just not a knock on him, because he was electric in Game 5. Mitchell Robinson, 6 for 6 from the line. 13 rebounds, 6 offensive. The bad part about the 6 offensive, they all came in the first half, which it's okay. It happens. I mean, it's not like you're expecting him to pick up 6 rebounds anyway. 6 offensive rebounds is a lot for any guy. Even if it is Mitchell Robinson, 6 offensive rebounds is not something that happens too often. But the thing I want to focus on is the 6 for 6 from the free throw line. I was seeing that Mitch tweaked his form. Well, it worked, and he better continue with that form for the remainder of this series. Because what he did, if he can hit his free throws and eliminate the hack-a-Mitch strategy that Joe Mazzulla has employed, that is huge for the Knicks. Josh Hart, 5 3-pointers. He does not do that often. That's the first time in his career he's done that in a playoff game. And the Knicks wasted it. That is unacceptable from the New York Knicks. You cannot be wasting those offensive performances. I doubt Mitch will ever go 100% from the free throw line again, let alone in this playoffs in his career. This is a guy that was shooting 30% from the line throughout this playoffs entering the game. Josh Hart, well, yes, when he shoots the ball in motion, it is a nice jumper. He's not hitting 5 threes again in a playoff game. You cannot be wasting those performances. It's just something that you don't get often enough. And I think it comes from Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, 5 fouls in 9 minutes in the third quarter. Karl-Anthony Towns, 4 first-half fouls in this one. Adam Silver had his hands wrapped around this game. And I'll tell you why. Because Adam Silver wants a Game 6 of this series. If the Knicks won and they ended that series, and the Thunder won and ended their series against the Nuggets tonight, there would be no basketball on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So with the Knicks playing on Friday, it gives the NBA a weekend game, and it might give them 2 if the Celtics can find a way to advance to a Game 7 on the brink of elimination. Come out and beat the Knicks again? I don't think it happens. I do think the Knicks close it out in 6 games, and I'll get to it in a little bit. I think Jalen Brunson is just going to be... It's going to be one of those days for Jalen Brunson where he is absolutely unstoppable. It's go New York, go New York, go. It's Knicks fans flooding 7th Ave. It's Yankees and Mets fans flooding River Ave. after the Yankees game, because if the Knicks win, nobody will care about the baseball. That's going to be 90% Knicks fans at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. The Knicks fans are going to shut down 7th Ave. The Yankees and Mets fans might be real close to shutting down River Ave outside of Yankee Stadium after Juan Soto's return to the Bronx. After the first Subway Series game of the year, it is going to be absolutely electric in New York on Friday night. The one thing I am worried about, though, the weather. It's supposed to be raining, so that might have a little bit of an effect on it. But honestly, I don't think Knicks fans are going to care. They're crazy like that. They'll stand out in the rain. They're going to be going bonkers. And if the Knicks do end up advancing, it'll be the first time they're in the Eastern Conference Finals in my entire life. I just turned 16 years old. I have never watched the New York Knicks play an Eastern Conference Finals game in my entire life. And we're on the brink of doing it. And we better do it. Because if we don't, and we let the Celtics come back from 3-1 down, heads have to roll. And that starts with Tom Thibodeau. What Tom Thibodeau did in that third quarter on Wednesday evening, is unacceptable. Not calling a timeout until the game is at a 13-point lead for the Celtics. Not substituting players until there's nearly 3 minutes left in the quarter and your team's down 15 points. I mean, what are we doing, Tibbs? Mitchell Robinson was tremendous in the first quarter. Miles McBride hit a couple shots. You need to have those guys in the game. I just don't love what Tibbs has done after games 1 and 2 of this series. I think game 4, the Knicks played well. They were prepared. They came out. They knew what they had to do, and they accomplished their goal. But in games 3 and 5 of this series, they were not good enough. And I think a lot of that has to do with the coaching. Because, yeah, Miles and Mitch have to be in that game no matter what. You have a chance to send the Celtics fans home. You have the chance to do it on the road again. And you squandered it. You got the 6 free throws from Mitch. You got the 5 threes from Josh. But Adam Silver wanted a game 6. And it seems like Tom Thibodeau did too. Hey, the Knicks had to come back to New York anyway. Why not play another basketball game? But if this series does get extended to 7 games, the Pacers are going to have a full calendar week off. They already are. But I'm just saying it'll be worse for the Knicks because they'll only get Monday and Tuesday off. They'll only get Monday and Tuesday to prepare for the Pacers. And that's even if they win Game 7. As like I said, I will not be confident in the Knicks winning a potential Game 7 on the road. I just don't think that happens. I know the Celtics are going to be down Tatum, but Derek White has come out and just knocked down shots in each of the last 2 games. It was 3 for 3 in Game 4, and he did it all game long in Game 5. Luke Cornett, the former Knick, 6 blocks on the evening. He was electric on the defensive side of the ball. But what the Knicks have done well is stop Kristaps Porzingis. And I think it does have a lot to do with his illness. It does have a lot with Porzingis not being healthy. But the Knicks have done a good job in not letting Kristaps Porzingis kill them. That was one of my main concerns entering this series. I thought Porzingis was going to be the guy that the Knicks had to stop, the guy that was going to kill the Knicks. I told you guys, I thought the Knicks had to send different looks at him, send Josh Hart, send Precious Achiuwa, send OG Anunoby, send Mitchell Robinson, send Karl Anthony Towns. And maybe even you send Mikal Bridges. But they haven't needed that. Kristaps Porzingis had 1 point in the first 12 minutes he played. That's what he played in the first half of last night's game. I don't know why I said that in the most confusing way possible. But Porzingis scored 1 point in that first half last night. That is huge for the Knicks. The Knicks have to capitalize on Kristaps Porzingis not being able to play basketball at the level he can play. Porzingis is such a good player, and people always talk about Jrue Holiday putting the Celtics over the edge. I really think it was Kristaps Porzingis. As teams have 3 guys, they have the big 3. Not many teams have the big 4. And the Celtics have it. They have Porzingis, they have Jrue Holiday, they have Jaylen Brown, and of course, they have Jason Tatum, who is on the shelf. He won't play. He ruptured his Achilles. You never want to see that. That's one of those injuries where it's like, even if it is the playoffs, even if you are trying to send the defending champs home, it's bigger than basketball at that point. That's one of the guys, that's one of the faces of the league. The media loves him, stuff like that. He has a lot of fans, and he's a guy, there's never drama surrounding him. He always goes to work. Yeah, he might take some stupid shots. He might lose the Celtics a couple games, but like he's not getting into any altercations. And that's the other thing I want to talk about. The altercation between Jaylen Brown and Josh Hart. I like it. Jaylen Brown was getting too physical. He touched Josh Hart in a spot he shouldn't have. And Josh didn't let that slide. It's a justifiable altercation if you're the Knicks. Like, you're not just, like, Josh Hart is not just going to let Jaylen Brown grab him. That's not okay. And I like him pushing him. Josh Hart, there's the whole picture with his face, blood splattered all over it. Josh Hart is an absolute trooper. He's a warrior. He is the heart and soul of this Knicks team. He's one of those Knicks. And I wasn't alive for it, but he should be a 90s Knick. He's got that physical grit, that grind, that hustle, the rebounding that isn't in the NBA today. And that's what makes Josh Hart such a valuable player. The fact that he does have that older mentality where he is going to out-physical, out-hustle you and win the game for the Knicks that way. He's not going to put up 30 points. I think he has before, and I know he has this season, but that's not something you're going to get out of him in the playoffs. He's not taking enough shots to do that. But he is going to get on the glass. He's going to take the ball coast to coast, and Joe Mazzulla talked about it. He talked about how he's worried about the Celtics letting Josh Hart get out in the open court. Josh Hart is so good at going coast to coast. But the other guy that I think is going to have an absolutely massive Game 6, send Boston home in front of the New York Knicks fan base, Jalen Brunson, the captain. That look that he gave Celtics fans, that look that he gave the Jumbotron, the wave that he gave to the Jumbotron, Jalen Brunson is going off in Game 6, and I can't wait for it. That was the look of a stone-cold killer. And that's what Jalen Brunson is. He loves sending teams home on the road. But this time, Jalen Brunson wants to do it in front of the home fans. He's never done that as a member of the New York Knicks. This is going to be the first time. Jalen is going for 40 points at least on Friday night. And the Knicks are going to win. And they're going to party on 7th Ave. It is going to be a riot from Knicks fans. But the thing is, and I was out there earlier this week on Monday, there was no violence. It was all celebrating. Like, I saw videos of fans in fans in Boston, fighting Knicks fans. There was none of that outside of MSG. It was all Knicks fans jumping around, singing, having a good time. Yeah, there were some crazy people out there, and you could go check out my Instagram. I have some interviews with fans in front of Madison Square Garden, outside of Madison Square Garden, pregame up there right now. There's some hilarious videos, I have to say. Some of the favorite videos I think I have on my Instagram. I want to do more of that kind of content in the future, so stay tuned for that. It's at @thesportspod_Ben on Instagram, at @thesportspod_Ben. You gotta put the in the sports pod. And then on TikTok, it's the.sports.pod. Make sure you go check it out. I'm posting there nearly every day. So go check it out, drop a follow, and yeah, just stay tuned for more content. All right, couple more thoughts to wrap up this episode. I talked about it already, but the Knicks absolutely have to win on Friday night. You cannot be heading back to Boston to play on that parquet court again, to play in the fake garden again. It is not going to work. You took 2 in TD Garden already. You can't expect to win every game up in Boston. You just can't. And if you're the Knicks, you don't want to fly back to Boston. You had to fly home anyway, so it's whatever. But you want to sleep in your own bed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe even Saturday before the series shifts out to Indiana, because the Knicks will have home court if they can find a way to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. And it's not even finding a way, it's just doing what you're supposed to do. Because when you are up 3-1, you have to advance. And the Knicks have to win Game 6. I'm expecting a huge Jalen Brunson game. Hopefully Mitchell Robinson can stay hot from the free throw line. And Karl-Anthony Towns, he cannot be invisible if the Knicks are going to win. You also need OG Anunoby to step up. The Celtics are still loaded even without Jason Tatum, so the full complement of Knicks players has to be on their A game. All right, that's going to do it for the episode. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing, following, liking, sharing, commenting. I really appreciate all of it. Also, go check out all my socials. They're linked in the description below. I alluded to them earlier, but why not plug it twice? Also, make sure you leave me a voicemail at 848-305-8073. You can talk about sports, your questions and takes. I'll react to them all in the next episode. And most importantly, make sure you keep it locked with the Sports Pod.